G'day, folks. Yeah, it's still cool out there. Spring's coming in slow. We got a little project this morning. It's more or less a voluntary project. Hang on. I'll zoom you in. See this here, folks? That's, well, you could call that a battery killer. This here, and we're not, oops, going the wrong way. We're not trying to put no tail on the donkey here. We won't get specific to the problem other than this machine here. It's a Goldie oldie. It's over 40 years old. It's a battery charger and a booster, and you can tell by the size of the cables on that it's not your normal little clamps like you have on the normal battery chargers. It's capable of pumping out over 100 amps, but it's killed many batteries in the day. So first, before we endeavor into this and the testing of this, because it's a voluntary fix that I'm doing on this. I don't guarantee that I will fix it, because hang on, I'll zoom into my face. I'm not guaranteeing that I fix it, because some of these things sometimes cost more to fix than they're worth. But this being why they would like, as in the people at the farm would like this, is because it was nice and handy. You could pick it up and bring it somewhere and boost the batteries. But why do we have to boost the batteries all the time? That's the questions. And why do we have to change batteries all the time? That's another good question. Okay, first off, we'll have to go back to yesteryear, like maybe, I don't know, 60, 70, 80 years ago. Maybe we're going too far here. Diesel tractor. Used to start them with there was a big wheel on the side of them, and just by the momentum, poof, 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 it'd start, and they'd be going. Or I've even seen some, they had a kind of a shot, and they'd put that like a 12 gauge charge, put that in the front, and I think what it'd do is it'd give it a kick, and then it'd start the diesel engine. But with time, they had the 6-volt batteries, and I think some of them even went to 24 volts to give it enough oomph to start those diesels. But the culprit, I'll call it, is that to run a diesel, like, I've got to understand, because I tried to analyze why. I'll tell you why eventually. Why we're going through a whole bunch of batteries all the time. It's because you didn't need a battery for the diesel to run, so all you do is you pull on the lever, and the diesel would stop. You'd cut out the fuel, and you'd push that, and then it starts. So therefore, the only use for the battery was to start the engine. So even irrelevant of the charging system, your battery could run for, I don't know, 2-3 months just by starting it. And even if the charging system wasn't working, I'll tell you what happened. My son-in-law tells me, he says, "You want to check this tractor?" He says, the battery's always dead. So I start checking, and so I see the ignition. So the ignition is off, right? But they had bypassed, the ignition had failed, so they had just an on-off with the keyed switch, and there was a separate button for a start, a momentary start. So I checked this. I'm going through the circuit, like I don't have a diagram, and then I end up at the switch. The switch is off. So how can it be generating like through the alternator if the switch is off? But as long as the starter works and it turns, that diesel will start. And once you pull that mechanical, I don't know, it's like a switch for the fuel pump, it'll die. So you can run, as long as you can turn that starter to start the diesel, the tractor, it'll run, and then you'll be able to turn it off. Because once it starts running, you're not drawing anymore. Like these tractors, yesteryear, you didn't have no lights on the tractor. Eh? When it got dark, it was time to go to bed. Not be in the field, not like today. Today you see that tractors in the field, it's just like a Christmas tree. Eh? But anyways, yeah, so they didn't need no power, so therefore they never figured that some people even, without pinning the tail on the donkey, some people even figured that you can run a tractor without a key. Because you didn't need a key. Why would you need a key? So I had figured a way to, if you wanted to, see, for the charging system to start running, you have to shunt the fuel winding. So I said, how can I do that? So what would, a way that it could work is if I put a oil pressure switch, and then I put some kind of relay, timed relay on there, I could just shunt the fuel armature, fuel winding, and on the alternator, and it'd start charging, and then you wouldn't even need the key. All you'd have to do is you start it, and then once it started, it'd shunt the fuel winding, and boom, your alternator would start charging. So if you lost the key, if you did away with the key, see, the whole thing is they figured they didn't have to put the key on or put it off. They just had to start it, and away we go. And these tractors didn't have no lights, but I don't know. I resolved the problem, but the way to resolve it was to put the decent switch on there, and then put a key in the tractor, and then use the key. But it doesn't work. It still doesn't work. And the tractors that have a key and the lights and everything, well, sometimes you sit in them and you listen to the radio, and you get out and you leave the radio running, and you come back to the tractor the next day, and the battery's dead. Well, I can't blame nobody else. I worked, I was just a few weeks ago, I was at on the farm, and I worked on the truck, and I had tried to start it, and I had left the ignition on, and I come back the next day. For some reason, for some reason I left it on, because it didn't start, because the starter wasn't engaging. But that's another story for another day. And anyways, it wasn't engaging, and I just got out. I scratching my head, and I got out of that truck, and I left the ignition on, and the next day those batteries were 2 batteries on the truck, and they were as dead as doornails. So this thing here had a lot of service, because this is a booster, eh? So when it's time to start the tractor, it's not time to charge the battery, it's time to start the tractor, eh? So you put it on and it cranks up to about 100 amps. You turn this thing, it cranks up to 100 amps. And, well, look at the size of the cables on. Oh, you guys can't see that. Hang on. Look at the size. There's no small cable on here, eh? It's they're decent size. Anyways, so yeah, it's burnt a lot of batteries in its day, and the tractors that we're talking about always have two 12-volt batteries. They're in parallel to give a more cranking amps, eh? So if you're always boosting to start, that gives a shot to the battery. Like, you figure the battery's dead, okay? And it's just like you know these things when you're on the bed there, you're keeling over from a heart attack, and they put these paddles on you and they boom give you a shot. Well, that'll do the same thing to a battery, eh? So you do that like 10 times. I think you cook your batteries, and it's time to buy other. And the tractor batteries don't come necessarily too cheap. So that's why I call it the battery killer. Because it's killed a lot of batteries, I know for a fact, in its day, without pointing the finger at anybody. Next thing, hang on, I'll just lower yours a little bit. Yep, not that way, this way. Without telling you the whole story, I'll tell you in the next episodes, we're going to take this apart. We're going to try and rebuild it in a way that makes sense. First, we're going to test it, and that's together. We don't have a wiring diagram, and it's obvious by there's diodes in here. I don't want to get into this too much there. There's one diode there, and I can see that there's one missing. There's the wire there. Well, that may be the culprit. Okay, I won't tell you what I just found. That's for the next episode. I may have to order a diode for this. We'll take some numbers, I'll order. Because I could see when I sneaked into this, I could see there was a piece missing here, that was there. And I said, what's missing it? But now I see there's a wire that just standing there. Like, whoever gave me this didn't give me the whole story, This is something too, I always, when you get a basket full of parts, and somebody gives it to you and they want you to fix something, just give it back to them. There's nothing, if you want to fix something, you take it apart yourself. Then you're on your way to fixing it. But when you gotta try and figure out whatever the other guy, like this thing, I can see there's a diode missing here. So before I fix this, I'm gonna have to order another diode or find one. But I don't have diodes, the capacity. These are good for 100 amps, these diodes, So I got maybe 60 amps or something like that in my, not here, somewhere else. Anyways, in my electrical bins. But I don't got no 100 amp diode. So, we're going to do some research, and I'll be back in here with the results on this charger. So this is this part. This is the first part of I don't know how many parts. I salute you all. I do this for fun, not for money. Up to now, anyways. So I salute you all. Happy you come to watch. You can ask questions or give me comments. Be kind, people. Especially nowadays with that, I was going to say SARS, with that coronavirus going around. It's not the happiest thing for most people. So be kind to people. Salute you all, and we'll see you in the next one.